a pair of wellies, and it seems like there aren't many shops if you and Russell Brand are going to the same one.
Yeah, I don't know what, I didn't even realise he lived near me. I can't, maybe he's just travelling across London to get them.
You'd have thought you'd have spotted him walking around.
He would have, yeah, apparently he had no shirt on. And, multicoloured trainers, it was absurd.
I spoke to my dad on Father's Day, obviously. We're all mentioning our fathers a lot on Father's Day, which is quite nice. And I said, haven't you got some wellies at home that you gave me for Christmas? And he said, oh, do you need them for Glastonbury?
That's so
nice. Yeah.
But I heard that wellies aren't actually the best thing, because if it does get muddy, they just stick and your feet come out and you lose your wellies. So I'm not sure what's best, some kind of all-in-one outfit.
Well, and
Dr. Sammy.
I'm going to vote for angling pants.
yes, that's a good idea.
Chest waders.
A big pair of waders.
That's a fantastic idea.
Do you remember the Wader Man from back in Bristol, Steve?
The Waderman, no.
No, well, me and a bunch of my friends, don't know if you ever used to come, we used to go fishing down at the river, and there was a guy called the Wader Man, so known because he used to go along, and the young lads who were fishing, we were like, what, 12, 13, 14, he used to get us to try on a pair of waders, and he'd take a photo of us.
Oh, that's dodgy.
He'd say, look, I've got these waders, I sell waders, what I need pictures of people wearing them so they can see what they're like when they're on. And so he'd get people to wear waders and take photos.
What's extraordinary about that is, I don't want to make any accusations, but it's such an elaborate way of being able to take photographs of kids and young people.
But he did this for years,
Who
unchallenged.
comes up with the waders idea?
I
It's
don't
like,
know.
do you know, here's a pony. Would you like to be seen, petting it? That seems so much more direct.
Yeah.
I've got a bulk order of waders here of different sizes. That's particularly strange.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Rashida, we were talking to you beforehand, and I apologise, we got sidetracked there with Glasto.
Okay.
But when you've got free tickets, you get excited about these things. Of
course.
And before we hear your next tune, we should maybe kind of make people aware of why we're close personal friends.
You're my boss.
I am, in a sense,
right?
your boss. Yeah,
You are.
yeah.
I'm on the American version of The Office.
Right.
Which I think is over here somewhere.
It's on some kind of fringy cable channel, but if you're a fan and you want to see it, then no doubt download it illegally off the internet, like I know you all are. I know what you're up to. And no, I'm not making a penny. But, look at it. Just because he works at my bank, I bet you've been into my accounts.
I know, it's disgusting.
It is. But yeah, no, that's so I didn't want people to think that you didn't have, as it were, a career of your own, that you were just merely
Right,
going on
thank
radio
you.
shows
Thank
all over
you.
the world just talking about your
But I
father.
actually am still writing your career in a sense, right?
Sure.
I mean, I don't really have my own career.
Sure,
It's only
sure.
because of you.
But you're, we should make it clear that you're an actor as opposed to, making tea and stuff.
I'm an actor, yeah. But I do make tea sometimes.
Yeah.
Friends, not on set.
Do you, because I mean, I'm not going to ask for, name dropping, but you, having kind of worked in acting circles for some time now, I imagine you have a huge kind of network of showbiz pals?
No, well, I mean, sort of, I guess, a little bit. No.
No? Who's the most famous person you've spoken to in the last week?
Oh, God. You?
Yeah?
Yeah, I guess so.
Nice work. Alright, so what's your final choice?
My final choice is A Lack of Color by Death Cab for Cutie, which is such a beautiful song, but my very close friend John Krasinski, who is also on The American Office, who plays Tim, that thing, it kind of introduced me to this band, and I've since become friends with Ben Gibbard, who's the lead singer, and he's amazing. And everything, the Postal Service, everything he does is incredible, and he's more incredible live, which I think is really hard to pull off, especially when you're kind of sensitive man.
Sure. Tell me about it. But Death Cab for Cutie are one of those acts which, although they have a following over here, they're not as kind of huge as I imagine they are in the States, because they're quite big. They're a big band over there, aren't they?
Huge. I mean, literally at the end of his concert, everybody is singing every word of his songs. I mean, it's culty.
Yeah. All right, well, let's listen to it then. A Lack of Colour, Death Cab for Cutie. A Lack of Colour from Death Cab for Cutie, the final choice of my transatlantic guest, Rashida. Thank you very much indeed. You'll stick with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I love saying things like, you'll stick with us. Can you hang on till after the news? We'll be back with you. It's weird. As a kid, I always had the fantasy of being a kind of TV presenter. But the sort of David Letterman sort, or maybe someone who has to come down a staircase at the beginning, like kind of Barrymore in his heyday as
in a
chat
dress or
show host.
something? Or?
No, just kind of, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Stephen Merchant, and they'd be around applause, and I'd sort of stand at the top, and then the stairs would light up as I came down. And then what I like is they've always got suits on, and they always seem to be unbuttoning and rebuttoning the jacket and sort of playing with the cuffs. So I don't know, it's strange. I just like this sort of fantasy of maybe making a couple of topical remarks and then introducing the band who would sort of, play a little kind of tune. Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it? Maybe one day, guys. Maybe one day. You can dream. We've all got to have dreams. I wanted to play we normally delve into the pigeonhole and play new releases and get people's verdict on them. We've not got time this week because of your choices, but I wanted to just play this one, which I'm quite excited about because it's the new single from Prince, and obviously I'm a massive Prince fan. I'd not heard this yet. This is our first listen to it. So guys, no pigeonhole this week, but let's just give our assessment to this new tune from Prince. It's Guitar. Upcoming single from Prince, that's out on the 9th of July. It's Guitar, and I have my little panel here who are going to give their verdict. Harry, you're not particularly a Prince fan, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't get away from the fact that he's written some classic songs, but my cloth ears often can't get past the horrible 80s production on most of it. But given the definite noughties production on that, I loved it to bits. I thought it was wonderful.
Rufus, do you share Harry's newfound love for Prince?
Oh, well, I've always been a massive Prince fan, like you have, Steve. Not as big a fan. I'm seeing him in August, and that's one of those songs that I remember the last time I saw him was at Earl's Court. No, not Earl's Court, Hammersmith Apollo. And he's one of the few singers who can actually fall to his knees and scream and wail like kind of Elvis used to, and not make you want to laugh, make you want to just kind of go, oh my god, kind of pull your trousers down or something. There's very few singers who can do that.
Down? Is that the obvious thing to do?
That was my initial response.
Prince is playing for a parade, quick! No!
Yeah, down they come. Yeah, down they come. Don't do anything once you've done that. Nothing else happens once that. Just the trousers come down, and then you stand in the spot.
Yeah, and then you rush to get maybe a new drink, topple over on your way to get some merchandise.
Exactly. Yeah, and then it becomes an elaborate kind of court case.
Yeah, it comes on Radio Top Man.
I love that. I can't wait to see him play that live.
Sammy, would you drop your trousers to that track?
Pretty much to most, but that was really quite bouncy, wasn't it? I don't know. I think I'm maybe too young for Prince. I kind of missed the big wave.
Right.
But retrospectively starting to get into some of his stuff, and he's an impressive tiny man.
Well, having seen him live before once at the Hammersmith Apollo, what was extraordinary to me was the fact that he's such a tiny man, as we all know, but his charisma is overwhelming. And I think it's right that you mentioned Elvis, because I've never seen a performer that charges the room with the kind of atmosphere that you imagine Elvis must have been able to generate. I mean, I don't think there are many sort of rock stars out there now, even the big hitters, whether it be Bono and so on, who've got that level of sort of stagecraft and chemistry. I mean, he's an amazing dancer, obviously, in his guitar work and everything, and he just has an amazing sort of sense of showmanship, which I think, oddly enough, the only other person I've seen who kind of gave me that thrill was Bruce Springsteen, a man who has, I know, divided both this room and the listeners.
Do you like Bruce Springsteen?
Have I not mentioned that? Yeah, but the boss has got it as well. But I think it's just, as you say, that sense of giving an audience a show, which so many now musicians, they just come on, they just play all their songs without mentioning a word, wave and go off again. And I just think there's something about rock and roll that demands a performance of sorts. Rashida, are you a Prince fan?
I'm a huge Prince fan, and for me, the biggest accomplishment is the fact that it's 20 years past the height of his career, and he still manages to do that. I think he's really disciplined about, staying on top, and I think you kind of have to do that.
But it's interesting that he had that kind of little dip where sort of people felt that he was something of a spent force, and suddenly there was a kind of, partly because of his own eccentricities, going on interviews wearing kind of veils,
right,
with his face masked, and then sort of other people answering the questions,
changing his name to a symbol,
right, exactly, instead of writing slave and so on. And I think that kind of made him into this sort of eccentric figure, although oddly when I saw him live before, he did sort of refer to his reputation as being an eccentric and kind of played with it and joked with it. And one of the things a lot of people don't realise is that often at the sound checks for his shows, he invites fan club members down, and they get to sort of see a little pre-show, and he gets them up on the stage and stuff. He's got a real sort of sense of community with his fans and so on. But yeah, he sort of had that little dip, but then I think suddenly people have realised, wait a minute, this is a living genius.
Yeah.
This is a man who can play everything and do everything and just churns music out. And I think for that he should win some kind of award.
I think he's got so much charisma. He almost has kind of control over his audience. Well, I saw him in Wembley in 1990, and he was going through the whole name symbol bit. And do you remember he went through a stage of being called Victor, calling himself Victor?
Right,
very short. It was only about 6 months between March and kind of April 1990.
Yeah.
But he said he was doing a thing about his name while he was kind of playing something on a kind of just a pared down song, and he said, "What's my name?" And we knew that we weren't meant to call him Prince. We kind of went, "Prince." He went, "No. What's your name?" And then everyone went, Rufus. Everyone said their own name. There was standing around 70,000 people who all said their own names. They were staring at this man on stage, just going, "David, my name's David," really quietly. So we didn't know how loud he wanted us to say it.
Yes.
I thought, I can't believe he's got everyone to do this. And if he'd said, "Kiss the person on your left" or "Jump up and down twice," we would have done it.
Drop your trousers.
Or drop your trousers. Well, I'd done that already. So.
All right, at that point, yeah. Well, anyway, I think we've sung the praises of Prince, and I was so frustrated that I was on holiday when he did that little sort of tiny little gigging at the Coco, and a lot of people have been to see it, and I will not let anyone mention it to me. It's like I will refuse to hear any comment about it, about how amazing it must have been. Rather, like I don't want anyone to tell me what happens at the end of The Sopranos. All right, 2 rules: no one email or text in. Okay, with either of those pieces of information. Each week I've been playing songs to seduce women by. It's a CD that we've been putting together, and now it's not even a CD anymore, is it? It's like a giant document, if you will, of
It's a soundtrack too. So
quite happy with the choices, although apparently The Sweetest Thing by U2 put people's backs up.
Yeah,
and I must remind people that the reason that was included on there was because originally when we came up with this idea, it was for some imaginary woman who worked in the office, and it was all very well putting on your eccentric, indie, heartfelt singer-songwriters, but of course this woman may not be into that, and she might need something more familiar, so that was the reason it was on there. I justify all of my choices, please, people. And also, since when is suddenly that such a terrible song?
Yeah, I quite like it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good song. Oh, look at Harry turning his nose up. Yeah. When's the last time you wrote a song for your wife?
that's the weakest argument ever.
Okay, well, the choice this week is Hawksley Workman, and from his debut album For Him and the Girls, this is Safe and Sound. From 2001, Hawksley Workman and Safe and Sound from his, as I say, debut album For Him and the Girls, on which he played pretty much all the instruments and produced it at home. Talented bastard. I can't mention that on the radio, but back after this with one of Harry's choices. Six Music, me, Steve Merchant, The Steve Show, and Harry, your choice next, please.
Yeah, well, Steve Show regulars will be delighted to know that this isn't a choice of mine today. It's a choice of my dad on Father's Day. It's, of course, one of the benefits of this show is that I no longer have to buy presents for my parents. I can just play a song for them every so often. So yeah, this is my dad's choice. It's a track by a band called the Smoking Popes. This was off their last album proper, which was called Destination Failure, and it's called Megan.
It's interesting that Harry's father's choice is suspiciously like the sort of music that you might choose, Harry.
Well, you know what it's like when you're a kid. You pretend that if you sit in the back of the car, you get sick, so you get to ride in the front. And if you're in the front, you've got control of the stereo. So I would just put on everything I liked, and some of it sort of bled into my father's musical taste.
Well, it's very, very hip of him. And what was the name of the track?
It was Megan by the Smoking Popes.
Okay, well, thank you for your choice. Time is racing away from us. It's the sort of thing a DJ might say. And so, Rufus, we get to hear your choice.
Unfortunately, I don't have my father's choice available today. I don't think the marching band of the 2nd Battalion Royal Anglian are on the Six Music playlist. So I've chosen a track by a band called Beirut. It's a track called Elephant Gun, and it begins with a ukulele, which is what won me over. And it's a really delightful piece of music. It's lovely.
It's Rufus's choice on today's Steve Show. The band is Beirut, is that right?
That's right, Steve, yeah.
And the name of the song?
Elephant Gun.
I think we've all enjoyed that enormously. Yeah, well done. A little round of applause in the Steve Wright style for a choice that did not annoy. Back after the news with the Aphex Twin, plus one of the listeners' suggestions. It's the Steve Show, BBC Six Music. Here's the news. Steve Show, BBC Six Music, playing the Aphex Twin and Window Liquor, which still sounds amazing. And it's extraordinary because there's so much kind of electronica and stuff now which just passes me by and washes over me, but there's such an atmosphere to that song. It's remarkable. In fact, I'm thinking of electronic music of late and how many times it's annoyed me. I'm beginning to think, I don't know how we can organise this, but I sort of feel like I want to launch a campaign to stop the use of interminable bland house music in every bar, club and restaurant that I ever walk into.
That's fair enough.
Because now it's become the Muzak of our generation, and you walk into every place, it's always too loud. It's not so much the loudness, but it's the fact that it's just so... Well, bland is the only word for it. It's just it's just someone who's got a 4/4 beat, and they, basically, it's music that I could make, and that's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah, when you catch yourself counting in the instruments or the chord changes, it's just ridiculous. Yeah,
and it just seems to be everywhere, even in places which I thought were quite classy. You know, sometimes I've been to restaurants which I might term classy. You know, where you're looking at perhaps $5.95 for a starter. Oh yes,
that's insane.
But even there, you know, someone as classy as that, it may have the word sort of chez or le in the title of the restaurant. You know, and even there, they're playing this kind of interminable house music. And I just wonder if I can put out an appeal to club owners, restaurant owners. Is there a way?